Hello, and welcome to Pinao Tech Radio Hour, the weekly bridge to the future of the piano tech community. I'm David Anderson.
And I'm Ethan Janney. And we're here to ask great questions, and then we'll shut up and listen to some of the authorities, experts, and most outstanding personalities in our little world of pianos.
So, put on your best set of headphones, and let's get started.
Welcome, everyone, to this special episode of Pinao Tech Radio Hour. I'm Ethan Janney, as always, and today, this week, we have some special guests. We're bringing you another fun pre-recorded session with a couple of very much insiders, I would say, in Pinao Tech Radio Hour. I see you all the time attending and loyal participants in what we're creating. So I'd love to introduce here Donna Byrd and Suzan Kline. And do you prefer Donnie or Donna or?
Well, it's a name that evolved.
Okay.
The first child I babysat called me Nani. And my parents called me Donna Ray. My Spanish friends gave me other names. I answer to all of them.
Excellent. Well, good. So I'll call you Donnie or Donna today, I think. But yeah, I mean, what I know of you, we've met several times. Of course, I see you all the time in Pinao Tech Radio Hour. I've learned that you've had lots of fascinating adventures all over the world. You do some traveling. I know you participated in the Send a Piano to Havana project, and you're a student of North Bennet Street School too, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Rick Brown and I were in the same class.
Excellent. Yeah. So, and Susan, similarly, were you at North Bennet or just?
No, I was at George Brown College in Toronto. I studied with Ted Samble.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So
it was only the second year the course was going. I really lucked out on the timing.
Awesome. Yeah. But yet another longtime student of Pinao Tech, very serious about doing things well and, have your own integrity and pride of workmanship or workwomanship, whatever you like to call it. Maybe I'll just give you each just a little bit of time to just say a little bit about, how you feel about how you'd like to present yourself, who you are and what you've been up to. And then I know Donna has some photos that maybe we'll go through and share to give people a little background on what you're up to with some fun alternative piano projects. But Donna, what would you say in introduction of yourself and your history as a piano tech?
What would I like to say about that? It was one of those questions I always hoped I'd know what I wanted to do if and when I grew up. And I didn't become a Harlem Globetrotter. I didn't become a decorator, any number of things. But when I thought I wanted to become a piano tuner, it just seemed right. My husband said, "Oh, I think that's perfect, but find a good place to get training because it's a man's field."
She found the best place.
And I found a really fine place. And Bill said, "Oh, you just want to go to Boston." And so he double checked my stuff and then said, "Okay, if you can get in, great, we'll go for the year. Sell one of the properties to finance it. No pressure."
We only sold the farm for this one, that's all.
Right, but he would not pay for me to go back for the required interview. And so Bill Garlick said, "All right, you can come for a week." And I was so traumatized. By the time that Bill joined me, it was like, there was a great big risk. That was a scary time.
you mind me asking what year that was?
Probably.
Estimates are
What was it? It's after
allowed.
Mount St. Helens blew. I think that was 80, 81.
Okay, late 80s, or sorry, early 80s.
My car says in business since 80, and I think that's when I started the school.
There you go. And did you actually take a residence there, or you just kind of like
Yes, we did. We
both of
lived
you
in
did?
the
You
North
moved
End.
there, and only for the time of being at school, or did you actually say, "Oh, this is kind of nice," and you stayed there? What was the?
Oh, we had the year to be there.
Got it.
We had to be back.
Got it.
My children were being taken care of by their dad and grandparents, and my parents were helping out take care of Bill's property.
Oh
Quite
man,
an
having a
achievement.
break from the so you had a little bit of a break from the kids.
Yes.
Oh
Yes, we
man,
did.
that's quite a privilege. I know, having my own. It's like being in the house with the kid. It's like no focus possible.
Well, and Bill would host the class to come over and play poker. I wouldn't join them in poker. And I watched Dallas while they were playing.
Nice.
And it was great living in the North End. A block to walk to class?
Perfect.
Oh, you lived close by too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, awesome. Susan, how about you? Like, what's a little bit of, you said where you trained a little bit, but what's a little bit of history or like a
Well, I
brief
started
bio?
out with 2 music degrees. I have bachelor and master's of cello performance. That didn't work too well for me. I got some 2-bit Canadian orchestras, and then I was a sabbatical replacement person 2 years in a row on the Canadian prairies. And after that, I was completely at loose ends, and I was kind of all over the place. After that, I found the course and never looked back.
Got it.
And Ted was just a wonderful piece of luck. Oh my God. We got along so well. It was really great. It was just like it all fell into my hands. It was like I was made for it. And he would give me these things to do and I'd do them. And he says, oh, she did them. And he'd give me something else and I'd do that. And so after the 2-year course, I have a nice the diploma has a little seal with a little piece of blue ribbon and it says honors with a U on it. Well, I mean, the thing was I could place out of whatever I wanted because I had a master's degree, for pity's sake. So anytime I wanted to, I would give them all a try. And then I said, this is a total waste of time and take the transcript and get back out of it. So I was living in Hamilton at the time, and then I would commute to a rented room in Toronto. And after the course was finished, Ted used to take 2 people out to Banff each year. And they treated us incredibly well. So we were kind of, so after I finished the course, I had the summer in Banff. And then I made my mistake and moved down into Stockton, California. I thought it was going to work out. It didn't too well. And it took me about 9 years to gather enough grub stake to come up to Oregon. And there was Donna Byrd.
But you came because we met.
She taught a convention class and I had a lot of fun at it. And she kept asking people for comeback and they weren't coming back. So I came back and she was very pleased with this. And she gave me a top duck button. And not knowing anything about U of O, I thought, oh, that's nice. The webbed feet look like they'd be kind of helpful when I moved to Oregon. And so I moved to Oregon and I was looking around. I looked at it a little before, and it seemed like the piano stores I'd met like several years earlier were out of business. So I phoned up Donnie while I was sitting in the motel and said, people still playing piano? Oh, yes, they are, And so she said, are you registered? And I had carefully finally gotten through the exam. So yes, I was. And she handed me Newport Arts Center on a plate because it was a long commute for her. And so I was off and running.
Awesome.
In those early years, Donnie has a tremendous gift as a roper inner. And she would have me come and do some, oh, look at that. Oh,
Is
very
that
nice.
North Bennet Street School? What is that?
Yep, that's North Bennet. Well, that's the Old North Church.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
The cemetery, the Pioneer
Shoot,
Cemetery.
excuse me while I get rid of this.
No problem.
And
There we go. Okay, that's rid of. So Donnie would, I was
this is
doing
where we
things.
live.
Oh, you
Oh,
lived right
lovely.
there.
Oh, beautiful.
And where did
What a
that
nice
picture
place.
come from? Did you just buy it at like a fair
The
from
gift
an
shop
artist?
at Old North. Yeah, the gift shop at Old North Church.
Wow, that's cool though. It's got your house in it. That's awesome.
Lovely. I
We're a
didn't see
hole
that.
where our house is.
So when I first arrived, I had just gotten all geared up with all of the Spurlock different call sizes and for bushing keys. I'd made myself some nice clamps for the keys. And when I found Anita Sullivan and Donna Byrd sitting there, being very nice new colleagues, I made them each a set of the key clamps as well. And Donnie started having me bush keys for her. I would come down, stay overnight at her place, do the bushings, go away. Then she found other things for me to do, things which I personally wouldn't have taken on, but she had already taken them on and she said, do this for me, and I would do it.
Sounds like a bit of a Tom Sawyer character. Here,
It's
paint this
very
fence for
good.
me.
Paint this fence for me, except that the fence was kind of hard to paint, but never mind, I wouldn't have taken it on, but since she asked me to, then I found I could do it. And we did this for a number of years. We had a very good time together.
I think it was on the ride back from Banff. I don't know where we were coming back from, but Susan was driving and Ted Sambell and I were sitting in the back seat. And I asked if he thought Susan could put hammer return springs on a rail that didn't exist. And he said, certainly.
I remember making that rail. It's the only time I ever did it. Oh, Ted gave me a very high compliment once in his memoirs. He said, she did every task I set her. So I treasure that, treasure his memory. He was so wonderful. Anyway, so we've had a good time through the years, and I've been her parts supplier. So I tend to keep things. It's a little hard to find them, but I usually lay my hand on them in about 5 minutes, and she'll drive up taking 40, so that gives me time enough.
Excellent. So I didn't realize you two were a bit of a dynamic duo. I did not catch that until now. So that's
Remember putting all that stuff onto that bad bridge down in Roseburg, was it? I practically breathed hot epoxy for the, oh goodness. There were a few that I would choose not to do again, given the choice, but most of the time we did fine.
And Ethan, I've been really lucky with working projects with other people. At North Bennet, we were required to do some projects together. And before that, I thought, I can work with anyone. I'm easygoing. And my experience was that I wasn't that easygoing. I can't work with anyone. But I have done projects with quite a number of people. I took the chapter into going up to Joe Garrett's shop in Portland, Gales Creek. I worked a job or two here with Brian DeTar.
That takes some gift.
With several people. I can't even think now. And I've just found it a good thing. I knew that I wasn't set up to be a partner with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on these pickup jobs, it was always worked. She also has a gift for selling pianos. she sold 2 for me, and I would have been absolutely hopeless. And she got a beautiful price, found a nice buyers who really loved having them. And one was a great big Bush and Lane. Oh my God, that piano weighed a ton. And another was that kind of modern Baldwin upright that was intended to be a concert Baldwin upright. And I had bought that on spec for other people who weren't interested, and came back after a job once, and there was Donnie and her sister sitting in front of it at my house playing away at it, and her sister is really enjoying it in Seattle. So thank heavens. Don't know what I would have done without that.
I remember one of the people at a Steinway seminar at the factory saying, as a technician, he was able to sell lots of pianos. As a salesman, he had a tough go because they knew he was a salesman. Same person, different role, different trust.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Donnie has a gift for friendship. She knows a lot of different people, and she has a pretty good way of picking exactly who a piano should go to. And after that, things work out pretty well.
It's enough info, right?
Yeah. Should we go to the photos?
Yeah, let's
share some of these photos. I want to hear what's going on with those. But yeah, I love hearing about the history and the relationship. It's nice to get some more details. So yeah, what do we got here?
This is pre-quarantine, officially retired, still working, as opposed to my 99% retired, but occasionally still working.
And I'll explain the scene just in case anybody happens to just be listening. It's just it's a beautiful vase with some these are tulips, right?
Yes, real ones.
Yeah, tulips. Right. And then in the background, kind of a very antique and ornate a piano that I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more about later. And this is your home.
I'm in a condo.
Okay. A condo.
An HOA.
An HOA. Okay, so continue. And let me know if you want me to move to the next photo or not.
These two the next one's fine too. You can go to the next one. It shows more of the full room. Both pianos are pianos that in my retirement, I was going to get in shape. The antique one I saw in a place called Hollywood Video. It was Hollywood Video and then Hollywood Antiques or vice versa. And it's one that I may have seen when I was working in Oak Ridge, which is now burning out there near us.
Oak Ridge fire. Oh.
And I went to the house to work on it and said, it's just not in the range of something I do. It's not a piano that can be brought to pitch. And I don't know if I gave them a name of someone, because I don't know who I would have referred the job to at the time. And that would have been in the first year or two after leaving North Bennet. So when I saw it in the antique store, I thought, no one ever worked on it. It was priced at $1,500, and then it had an NFR sign, which I had to ask about, which is no further reduction to $400. And I thought, if it never works, I can have it in the hallway and have it be an ornament. The grant was given to me by Northwest Christian College. It had been in the music teacher's, choral director's office and never ever moved, taken care of. But when he switched jobs and they were changing the program to guitars and pull down screens. Well, I missed a step there. This piano became one that was in the dining room and was moved back and forth. And the scholarship students finally admitted that because it had the leg dollies on it, they would start moving it across the dining room floor and then jump up onto the piano and see how far it would go. I couldn't figure out why the legs continued to collapse and so forth and so on. They confessed. After the program ended, I was given a call and asked if I wanted it. They were going to send it to the dump. And so I'm very happy to have it.
Very cool. And yeah, go ahead.
Were you going to ask about the poster?
Yes, I knew that. Well, Susan had mentioned it earlier before we began recording, but yeah. Because when I first saw that, I saw these pictures beforehand, and gosh, there's like these magazines, like Collier's, I think was one of them. There was a guy that I knew when I was younger, my family knew, and he made these T-shirts, and they had these kind of painted, basically magazine covers. And they would have like a woman playing tennis or something and like a French little saying on it or something. And when I saw that poster, I just kind of thought of it was just some sort of standard kind of like artistic thing with kind of like a little French influence or something. But anyways, but apparently it's somebody special to you. So yeah, let's hear the story. Susan mentioned this earlier, but.
The person is Winifred Byrd. She was my husband's aunt. He grew up listening to her practice. They had a piano at the beach, and and another friend would sit under the porch and listen to Winifred play, or Aunt Winnie play. The poster was discovered online. And a friend of ours, a friend of ours who used to house sit for us while we were bicycling or boating or whatever, saw it and called and asked me if he could bid on it for our place. And I said, I don't think so, because we're in a condo, not in a house, and we don't have a spot to hang up anything. And Bill overheard me talking to him and said, go ahead.
Oh, nice. So that's an original, or it's a replica, or like how?
It was a poster that hung outside Carnegie Hall.
An original though. It's not like a reprint.
Well, they printed up who knows how many of them, and plastered them around. When it arrived as three. It had separated into three posters. And the friend who has the White Lotus Gallery took it to China on one of her trips to have the work done on it. She said it would be away for a year. It wasn't that they were going to be working on it for a year, but she was making annual trips. And,
very cool.
And then they framed it. Wayburn was very unhappy that Dick, who was doing the framing, rolled the silk up and down from the bottom. She didn't think any of that fabric should be wasted. And Dick reminded her that we wanted to hang it in the house. So that's the way it is. It's the one of very few objects that almost never gets moved.
So it's silk.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's like a silken that's really cool. All right. And should we move on?
So
Should we move on to the next photo or anything else
Sure.
Okay. So what's this? I see maybe it's the same piano that we were talking about before that you discovered and purchased, and no lower offer, whatever that. And then I see there's a damp chaser installed and a bunch of keys removed. And yeah, tell us what's going on here.
Well, I had another chapter member, Terry Lambert, came over a couple of times tilting the piano for me, and we super glued. I don't know if you can see all the cracks in that picture, and little bolt-like looking things.
Up by the
very
pin
loose
block?
On the pin block, very loose
Wow.
pins. And moisture and all wasn't enough. One day I heard an enormous crack. I thought my grand piano maybe had actually gone through like the floor, like had been warned, and didn't discover that the crack was the pin block rest plank separating from the backboards.
Well, it
There
didn't
is
have
no
a
plate.
plate, if I remember correctly.
Never did. Had
It
another
just-
tech tell
it
me
just-
over and over, take the plate off. Well, there is no plate to take off.
Just a wooden plate. It's very
Wow.
old.
And is this piano functional? Like, can you play it now? Like, does it sound okay? What?
It's currently a music desk, a screen, a room divider.
Got it.
It was a sticker action, if I remember correct.
It's a hopper action.
Hopper, yeah.
Hopper. Yeah,
Mhm.
not a rocker, but a hopper.
What does hopper mean? I'm forgetting, or maybe I never found out.
Well,
Great big long stickers in the action way down near the keys.
there is one center pin that runs the whole length of all the hammers. So if you want to make a repair, you take it all out. You take
One
the-
center pin across all
one
the.
center pin. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
That was the
And it also has a damper rail, like a grand piano. All the hammers lift at once. So if you stick your head under, you can see the bass string, the single string, and the dual on it, which is really nice. I don't have that connected at the moment because the objects I have on the damper rail would go flying off everywhere. But I wanted in the work that follows to let people see how and where it was once a piano.
Okay. Should we hit the next picture?
Please.
All right. This I can't quite make out until you describe it. I see like two white things on a black background.
All right. This would be the small part, goes down here, connects to the rail.
Oh, okay.
gotcha.
And this goes up. You regulate up here on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sticker action. Very old and obsolete kind
So
of
that thing you've been shaking around, that's actually a legitimate piano part. It's not just like a contraption.
That's right.
Oh my God. That's so funny. This whole time I thought it was just like a joke thing that you stapled together or something. Okay. We're making
Next
some
picture.
progress here. All right, one sec. Next picture. Okay, so that's kind of like a piece of all that. All right, next one. All right. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, that's just all of these in a line.
And we're looking bottom to top or top to bottom? I can't quite tell. Looking from underneath?
I think it's top to bottom. I didn't
Okay.
take a picture of both sides.
Okay.
I have
got
that out in the garage, should you want to really see it.
Just take a trip to Oregon. It's a nice place.
it. All right, should we hit the next one?
Please.
All right. This is cool. What do we got here?
The keys,
Keys, right.
all 85 of them. I don't know if you can see it on there, but I think based on the shape of the sharps, that it's about 1850. They're curved.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem very thin.
Yeah. Oldie.
Right.
Very interesting. Yeah, I see. And so are those glued together? Like, what's going on there? How are they all staying together?
It's a key frame, I think.
Yeah, they're on the key frame.
So there's a key frame in the upright piano that can be removed,
Right.
which
Would
is
you
not.
like me to bring it forward for you?
Bring it forward? You mean on
Take it off the wall?
Or
Or just take a key or two?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, whatever makes sense of things. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
right over there.
Yeah, go for it. So this piano is quite a monster of its own little universe.
It was maybe not terribly practical to think it could be kept as a playing instrument, but it was so beautiful. The case, my God.
Mm-hmm.
She had it playing for a while. It was a real bear to tune.
So how far apart are you in terms of driving distance, Susan?
Oh, about an hour.
Okay.
There we are.
Oh, okay. And so each of the keys has this little contraption at the end, huh?
Right, and it's very frail.
Whole thing's
Oh.
frail.
Hold it down a little bit lower.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Wow.
And in a pinch to make replace springs, replace this spring, which were broken, I took a safety pin.
Is that the safety pin there, or is
That's
that
the safety
the original?
pin there.
Nice.
Oh, that's the safety pin.
You see, who would have thought of that? But Donnie did.
Well, I was going to have to make them and I must
you-
have given my
You couldn't call me for the part because I didn't have any of them.
and I didn't have the spring maker tool any longer either.
I think I had the spring maker tool, but luckily she didn't rope me in to do them.
Or ask for it back, either one. Yeah. Above the keyboard is the a picture that I brought back from Havana on one of my 3 trips.
Beautiful. So you've been there 3 times.
3 times.
Now, when you've gone there, has it been an illegal proposition? Or I don't even know what travel to Cuba was like. You know, like I know there's certain limitations.
The instruments had
How
to be
did-
sent from Canada or Mexico. I know that much.
Okay, got it.
I answered a classified ad in the very back of the PTG journal
Okay.
that Ben Truhoff replaced, saying,
Ben Truhoff, right.
travel with us, take whatever parts if you're willing to instruct on them. And you had to get approval.
From?
That was recommendations. I had one from our local chapter president, who was the U of O Tech at the time, Dave
Got it.
Gustafson. One of my clients who had a lovely Steinway. And I mentioned that she is a Presbyterian. because she'd been going to El Salvador with the church. And she said, I'll be glad to write a recommendation on the grounds that if you come back safely and I'm in jail for doing that El Salvador trips, you'll come visit me in prison.
There you go.
But you had to be approved by the ag department, and then you could go.
Got it. So you said you knew this person from church somehow. Tell me again.
Oh, I knew her from an amateur piano group.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And that's how I met her. And then I became her technician.
Got it. Did I tell you about my relationship with Ben Truehaft?
No.
So he was basically the first piano tuner I met when I moved to New York. So I was living in Chicago, and I was getting very interested in neuroscience and thinking I might want to study that topic. And I was finding kind of quirky ways to get into it. I was hanging out at University of Chicago, going to some lectures, and I was actually spending time with Ken Eshtay from Northwestern. He's the piano tech, or was the piano tech at the time, that was full-time there along with Bill Schwartz. And he was able to get me into a couple interesting classes at Northwestern, so on and so forth. But eventually I decided I'm moving to New York. And I still had this idea that I wanted to do some neuroscience training or classes or whatever. But when I got there, I just thought, hey, I worked in a university here in Chicago, so let me see what's going on at universities in New York. So Ben was tuning pianos for New York University. So when I called New York University and said, who's your piano tuner? Can I talk to them? They referred me to Ben. I had a call with Ben. And then I met with him while he was tuning the piano. We had a little conversation. And in the middle of it, he said, oh, I just recently spent an extended period in, I think it was Japan, because my wife had some work to do there. She's a neuroscientist. And my ears perked up. And I said, oh, well, that's fascinating because I'm interested in that topic. And he said, oh, you should go meet her. She'll give you a tour of her lab and tell you about everything that she does. So I did that, but it actually turned out that I became a student in the very same lab that his wife was in, doing her work. And we both studied birdsong too, which was also an interesting connection between music and neuroscience and birds. That particular lab used birds as an animal model for language development and vocal learning and things like that. So Ben is quite the character of the piano industry.
Yeah. I think
we should get him to join. We should get him to join the radio hour sometime soon, because
that would be interesting. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Actually, I think I met Ben, but quite a long time before that. It wasn't that I was totally retarded, but it took 17 years between my freshman year and my senior year to get a BA with a major in anthropology. And I think he was in the class trying to get me to become a SDS supporter. And I was timid and broke and didn't want to spend a dime or whatever it was.
What's SDS?
Students for Democratic Society.
Very lefty.
Got it. Yeah, he's definitely a lefty.
But I don't know. But I don't know if that was Ben for sure. I just kind of think it was.
Seemed about right. Yeah. All right, let's hit the next.
Yeah, go ahead. I saw. I think on the lists at that point, I saw the solicitation to get parts to go to Cuba because they needed everything. And so I scavenged people had given me odd things from old dead tuners. And I just grabbed it all and I made 2 great big cartons to send off to Cuba. And I stuck in reblets and I put in photocopy of my article about how to mix the 2 glues to get things to stick together. And since it mentioned the white glue and the crazy glue, I included both of those. And there was a whole set of key tops I had that I didn't think I'd ever use, all plastic. So I dumped them in, and well, it turned out that Donnie was there during that thing, and she found this big old upright. She can tell most of this better than I can.
Go ahead.
But she found a beautiful big old upright, and when they were picking their project pianos down in Havana, and she wanted to do that one, and they said, "Oh no, that one has bad key tops. You can't really do that one." She says, "Well, here are these key tops, and I can put them on." And they said, "No, how could you put them on? You don't have the glue." And she allowed us how the crazy glue and the white glue could put them on, and you don't think of it for plastic, but it works. And if I remember correctly, this kind of officious person came forward and said, "Those two glues are incompatible. I know, I'm a chemist." And so she put the two glues together and stuck the key top on, and it stuck. And he says, "Well, it won't last." And she went, "Go ahead, Donna, you were there."
I was going to say, we don't know how long it lasted, but I was interested. Bill Garlick had told us about waterfall keys that were good for the tropical areas.
Yes,
And some of those were being removed, and I've often wondered if that was a good idea, or if the ones that were replaced held. And right now, I haven't been able to get Armando. I haven't heard from Armando in a long time.
Yeah, he came and visited us once, but I haven't seen him for a long time.
Never slept. If you send out an email very shortly, there would be an answer. Always note about the kids.
What's Armando's role?
He was in charge of the piano tech department.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he took care of the pianos.
So how are the waterfall keys good for tropical? What does that do?
Well, they don't come apart.
They don't come apart as easily.
Yeah, it's a continuous.
Got it.
So from what I heard from Donna Byrd, that she put the whole set of keys on, and the guy said, "Well, tomorrow they'll be off." So she picked at them, and they were still stuck. And he said, "Well, it won't last." And then she came back the next year and chased down where that piano ended up, and it was in an elementary school off in a different town. And she went and looked at it, and they were all completely stuck down.
You know, the part that I can't help but remember is, I don't remember his name. Someone had told him that he should apologize to me, and I was thinking, darn it, stop picking on me. And his apology came in a totally different form. I asked if I wanted to go out on the sailboat with a couple of them. And to me, I should have recognized that as an apology. I wish I had. I'll take the should out of there. I wish I had.
Mm. Yeah. Sometimes the best way to sometimes you gotta let other people save face. Put it that way. I found that. That's right. I found that. Let's see if we can get through some of these other photos.
It's getting more like a desk by the minute. Yes.
Yeah. Let's hit through them here. Okay, so what's going on with this one?
That area, I wasn't sure how to finish it, so I have just black poster paper. And we'll get to another one where you'll see the drawers that I put in.
Cool. The front is so beautiful there.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah.
Now,
gorgeous. Yeah. Incredible.
I think it's a full bois finish, all painted on there.
Yeah. Don't try to refinish that. You'll discover it all comes off, leaving you plain pine underneath.
Wow.
And I don't know how to clean it.
And
gingerly, very carefully.
The poster board, you said you put that on the key bed. Is that what you were talking about?
I did.
I'll
just see by taking the keys out on the key frame, that gives her a nice flat surface underneath.
I have this idea to have like a little piano repair place in New York and combine it with like a little coffee shop. Oh, okay. So tell us about this.
This is a box that I bought at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It
Nice.
says Home Sweet Home in the bottom or some such thing. But parts of the piano tools in it. So I have 2 of these and a shadow box.
Got it. So I was gonna so for the to be like a coffee shop and also a piano workshop, maybe separated by glass so there wasn't any contamination, sawdust or whatever. But all the furniture in the coffee shop could be made of old pianos, you know, you could have like bookshelves and chairs and tables and stuff like that. I thought that could be kind of fun.
They're out there waiting for you. It's better that than the dump.
There's plenty. All right,
And
so
double veneered, absolutely flat panels, which have been flat for over 100 years. One can do things with that.
This picture's in for a couple of reasons. One, it has a small electric keyboard. I never wanted one in the house, but I found it for something like $15 at St. Vinny's.
Where's the keyboard? I'm like missing it.
It's okay. The whole tree comes down. There's a lamp.
Yeah.
And it's on the bench part that the lamp is sitting on.
Okay, got it.
Keyboard is right there. I still haven't figured it's a Yamaha something. I need a manual.
It's probably
So I
online
can
someplace.
change
I
the
don't know.
tuning on it. And the chair is my chair for the desk. And that's my biggest cat.
One removes the
brother.
cat first before using the chair for the desk. Yes.
Depends on how lazy
Or
the cat is feeling.
waits. Or I sweetly wait.
All right, how about this one?
Well, the
Okay,
double
that
artist
is the
bench
deck.
isn't half bad, so.
The damper rail, which just lifts all at once.
Hmm.
It also has a shift pedal. Someone had blocked that action with a felt punching. And then there's the key cover and the music desk.
Cool.
Also, I'm quite sure the gap between the pin block and the soundboard didn't always have that much larger of a gap than up here. The piano was dropped at some point. If you look at the back post back here, it definitely droops. And on the
Right.
treble end, there's a huge patch missing.
It's pretty
Right.
hard to keep it all intact with tension on the wire and no metal plate. That's
Yeah.
very difficult.
So you're talking
And the
about this
passage of
this here.
time. Lots and lots of time.
Right, and this area, high treble, had really an interesting pattern. It reminded me of a cat's cradle. I am really sorry I didn't leave that intact when I took the strings off. I took a picture of it, but in switching cell phones, ruined the cell phone.
Hmm.
So if anyone has a picture of that, I would like to duplicate it. Otherwise, I'm just going to try to duplicate it with harpsichord wire with a gold wire that will show up and be thin and
No, you'll have fun with that. That'll be
simply
neat.
decorative. This was the character at the, it's not a burro, I don't know what it is, but it's a wine holder and cups to go with it. That was a present from the second year I was there.
Where is that? On top? No.
Yeah.
I can
No.
zoom in.
I don't know if I can,
That's it right there.
on top of the piano.
Got it. Oh, like this thing here?
I can't point to it.
You can't point to it. I can. Yeah. So I've got from the left.
There you go. There you
What's-
go.
This is it on the left.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a burrow or what it is.
Okay.
It has cups hanging for it to pour your wine in.
Cool. Very nice. All right, let's check
So
out.
where it is right at the moment.
So what do we got
Okay.
here?
That's the side that I'm sitting in front of right now. It's not a triptych because there are 4, so I'm thinking it might be called a quadruptych.
Tetrapic, maybe.
But it needs to be a word for 4. And then there's the fall board below it, sitting on
Well,
little
those 2 little chairs that came with the table, I remember.
Yeah.
How you got them into your Prius was quite an achievement.
Right.
The table was big and there were all these other parts and she got it all in.
Oh, and here's the little winery on the table. Go to the next picture.
Next one.
Yeah.
Next one after this one, or is this showing?
Oh, well, that's not showing the one I was going to have you show, but this is the front of the table acting as a buffet front. So had you come down, maybe I would have been able to serve you wine from the
There you
burrito.
are. I see the glasses, yes.
Nice. And who's this? Now,
That's my
now I
son.
can see the keyboard.
Yes, right. Well, several people suggested that I just put the keyboard on my piano, and I thought, and who would be happy with that? I certainly wouldn't.
I wouldn't care for it.
And who's this here?
Oh, that's my son, Ken.
Got it.
And down the hallway, you see the painting move down the hall. So,
Yeah.
So every time I change something in one place, seems like everything else in the room has to move somewhere.
Yeah, things move. See, things are moving around quite a bit here. All right, so there's another shot. I think we actually we might have saw that one already. Oh yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
And then now what do we got here? This is
Have
a
one of
change.
one of you sitting at it, so
This is just with the black poster board. Let's see. On the soundboard is I think that's the picture that Ken drew of me one day. I'd given him some colored pencil. And it either looked like Rest in Peace or I was asleep when he was drawing.
Are you talking about this photo, like right in the center there?
Right in the center, yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that's a drawing, huh? That's pretty good.
Right.
he's good at drawing. Yeah.
Jill Timmons said to me one day after I tuned in Coos Bay for one of their master classes that I should just go rest on my laurels, which I think one should never do. But it's either resting on my laurels or resting in peace.
All right, I think
There's
this is our
plenty of
last
time
photo.
for resting in peace. We don't have to start too soon. There we are.
There's the last one. Yep.
So basically what we've seen is that this piano, you've had it, you acquired it, and like over time it's the piano itself has even evolved into new incarnations of what it
Right.
is and what it does.
It's converted to a desk. It got me honestly past grieving over it. I was really sad. I thought it would be a great thing if I downsized, moved somewhere, and had just a small little piano.
And I actually played on it, but I mean, it's a little old for playing on. But it's
Well,
really neat for all this stuff. It gets richer every time we see it.
Yeah.
Well, after listening to Radio Hour and hearing that, is it Jurgensen, is it Owen, had a grand Abel and Smart that he sent off to a friend of Paul LaRudi's, put a new soundboard in it for him, and maybe pin block too, I don't know. I would just listen to all these shows and think, okay, I can replace the block. Can't do a soundboard, maybe just, I would think of the various people doing it and think, maybe he'll do it for me. And
See,
so
being
forth and
really
so on.
bold and then having very capable friends. She knew that I wouldn't be able to do that.
Sounds like quite a project. Well, yeah, it's
But if she thought I could have, she would have asked me.
Yep.
Well, thanks for sharing all this with us. I think this is quite fun. I think we've got almost an hour here of material, so we may not need to make time for a Q&A section, but I'll look over the recording, and if there's time for Q&A afterward, people could ask questions. Otherwise, they can just follow up, and we'll put your email in the chat and everything. But thank you so much for sharing all of this with us and sharing your kind of history and your stories and everything going on with you all over there in the Pacific Northwest and the globe as well.
It was fun. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. Remember that you can catch us live online every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right. Go to pianotechradio.com to register so you can interact live and ask questions of our guests.
See you next week.